On Wednesday, LBC host Iain quit his job and ran away to join the circus, otherwise known as standing to be a Tory MP. His chosen seat was Tunbridge Wells, where he lives, right? That makes sense. But less than 48 hours later, the dream had turned to ashes. This is Dale explaining to LBC's Nick Ferrari why he has dropped out.
Well, on Wednesday morning, so literally less than 12 hours after I'd done that little speech on Tuesday evening, I got a text from the local Conservative Party saying that they had had a communication from the Liberal Democrats with this clip from the For the Many podcast from 2 years ago, in which I had said, and of course I hadn't remembered this at all, in which I had said that I didn't like living in Tunbridge Wells and I'd quite happily live somewhere else. Now, I instantly recognised the problems with that. There is a context to it, but nobody's interested in context or nuance in these situations. You just have that little clip, and that would be on every single Lib Dem leaflet that was put out in the election campaign.
I mean, it's funny because these media outlets always try to say, we're neutral, we're doing journalism. No one, you'll never know what our kind of political inclinations are. And then one of them just goes off to run to be a Conservative MP. I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem super neutral to, at least here we put it all out in the open. We're leftists, we're progressive, whatever. It's just funny when that veil of neutrality, even just for a minute, it's not really a very well held veil, but you know what I mean.
I'm not a big fan of Iain, but I think what it does speak to a lot to is this problem that we have with political careerism in general, where we don't seem to properly understand what being a politician is supposed to be. And Iain isn't the only one who has been guilty of doing these things. It's not just Iain. We all see the people, we've seen the Paul Masons of this world trying to use their position as somebody who's a journalist or whatever to probably get a seat, multiple different seats. We've seen Susie as do the very same thing, and I don't think necessarily places that she has any kind of connection to. And of course, there is the infamous Sebastian Payne continually trying to get access to some kind of safe seat to be able to turn what is a career completely outside of party politics or politics within a certain kind of campaigning system, and then use that to be able to fulfill some kind of dream of being a kind of political actor at this point. Because at the end of the day, if you're the kind of person who's going to say things like, well, I don't really enjoy living in this place, I'm just living as my partner wanted to or whatever, that doesn't really show you any kind of connection to the constituency. And when you look at the other names I mentioned, they have zero connection to the constituency. There is this kind of problem with kind of parachuting happening. Again, obviously we see that with Paul War and all the people who are kind of party apparatchiks being parachuted into seats and kind of breaking one of the kind of fundamental parts that we get sold to us is this kind of lie of the constituency link under first past the post. This continually gets touted as to us. There's the reason to keep this link between the constituents and their MP. They're specific representatives for the area that they are in, rather than just being part of a party structure that they then represent within Westminster, rather than somebody who might theoretically dissent because that's what their constituents want, which very rarely happens because of how powerful the whip system is. And really and truly, we need to just completely get rid of celebrities and journalists and people who aren't actually part of the actual groundwork of what it takes to be a political campaigner and a political activist. Have a complete kind of moratorium on these people having access to politics, because it makes a whole mockery of what politics really should be, which is a connection between legislators who serve the people, right? When we pay their bills, literally, it should ever be just a place where celebrities go to be able to get their jollies for their political cause really and truly. And that's what really I find quite funny about all of this, is that I really don't think that Iain has much on his minds other than just wanting to be somebody who now has a career in politics, rather than this kind of genuine desire to serve the country as a political representative.